My name is Rachel Henriquez, and this is my story. My name is Rachel Henriquez, and I've been going to Mesa since I was a freshman in college, so that's around 3.5 years now. I'm about to graduate this semester, so. I started coming to Mesa Church freshman year at Vanguard. There was a table, sign-up groups where you could sign up for whatever you wanted to, whether it was choir or like anything, any school activity, and Pastor Jordan was there at his table, and I was able to start coming to Mesa knowing it was on campus, and I was able to just, it was convenient, but also a good community. The ministries I am involved in at Mesa is currently the youth. I love hanging out with people younger than me, mostly because I'm socially awkward. So it's fun hanging out with the kids or the teenagers because they're just kind of like me and I can stick with them. But I met Pastor Brittany. She was one of the first people I met after Pastor Jordan, and just the love she had for the youth really inspired me, and I wanted to be a part of that. And so that's how I started joining that group. The greatest thing about Mesa Church is that it's authentic. That from the beginning is what I really loved about it, is that it wasn't surface level. Like the messages weren't surface level, it was always deeper, and I wasn't very used to that. I love my church back home, but as a youth, I didn't learn as much about God as I should have. And so coming to this church, I was learning so much more alongside with like my classes. I was able to correlate what I was learning in my theology classes to what I was learning in church, and I just loved how authentic and deep and real it was. The differences I see in the ministries done here in our community is, well, for starters, like with our kids ministry, with our youth ministry, we're building up like the next generation, and that's so huge. I think Pastor Jordan mentioned this a couple weeks ago, and Pastor Elliot, the guest speaker, talked about how like one generation can stray, but one generation can come back, and we're literally being able to do that through the ministries we hold every day, whether it's just taking care of the little kids in our children's ministry or hanging out with the youth group students. Like that in itself is huge. I think about the mixer that we're starting out on Sundays. I got to meet a lot of cool people through that, and building community is so huge, especially in a time where there's been so much change and we need to find something stable, and we can find that in church community is so huge. There's so many different things we do here, but I think those are two main things that really stood out to me lately. The differences I see in the ministries we do outside of the church. Serve Day has been so impactful. I haven't seen a church do one like that on a Sunday, and obviously we started it because when we didn't have a place to meet, that's what we would do. But it's so huge. I had the chance of going to Beswick Elementary School on this past Sunday, and we talked to Jackie. She's the one that's in charge of all that over there, and how they literally, the backpacks we donated, first day, they're taken at the end of the day by these students that need it. Like the things that when we're helping just even garden or like weed up, like take up all the weeds that are in that little yard for the students, like it may seem like something small, but these kids get to come and enjoy their play area and see the beauty of things growing. And she was talking about how there's many of these organizations placed in the schools, especially for low-income families, and they'll literally send the kids home with food in their bellies. Like it's an after-school program, but it's before and after. So they go all the way to make sure they come home, and we get to be a part of that. And that's just one thing that we're a part of, but that's something that I've personally been able to be a part of. And it was, I almost went, I came after doing that, I kind of almost wanted to cry just how impactful it was, hearing Jackie's story, hearing how a kid she's been in this for like 23 years now, a kid that she used to help in the past and like with this program is now interviewing for a job, and she was able to give her a job in this place because of how impactful that was. And it's just so amazing to see how just the serve days that's just one spot too. Like I keep saying that's just one thing, but it's true because there's many different areas that people are serving in that we're doing outside of the church in the community, and it's so impactful. The difference I see that everyday ministry's making in my own life is I get to be a part of such a wonderful community that is actually out there serving. It's actually being the hands and feet of Jesus, but it's also taking the time to take care of oneself as well. And I've been able to do that here. I've met so many wonderful students like in our youth ministry that have been great, just been so fun to be around, but also youth leaders and pastors and just so many wonderful people that are so friendly and so fun to talk to. And it just makes this place more like home. I'm excited about our new church home because we finally have a place to meet that's ours. And God has been so much in the process of us getting here. And it's so nice to have a place to meet, especially that's safe, where there's air conditioning, like it's a nice roof over our heads. And I think the most exciting part for me is that our youth group is finally able to meet indoors, and we're able to have events in a place where we don't have to like cancel if the weather's weird or anything like that. We were so grateful for the space we had, but now we have a space that's just, it's a real blessing. So it's really awesome that we're able to meet everyone as a collective in this space. Some of the amazing things I see happening at our newest facility are just community building. We've had so many events leading up to the grand opening that just allowed for families and just friends to meet outside, inside, and it's been so fun seeing people stay afterwards and just chat. Or I mentioned the mixers before, and we just started that up, but that was honestly so cool being able to meet and hear the stories of people that have been going to this church for a long time and seeing how one person's story intertwined with another person's story, the impact that we make in each other's lives, even now that we don't know that it's gonna happen in the future. And I mentioned earlier too, the generational change. I think it's gonna be amazing seeing the impact. Pastor said to one of my roommates, actually, he's like, can you imagine like the impact of you being a first generation like Christian, like seeing the impact on your kids' kids, and that's like something that's gonna happen here. It's gonna be amazing. Giving to the church is important because I know a lot of us serve with our time, but this is giving back our resources to God, and we're able to use it, and He expands it, and we've got to see the fruition of it even over the Now Initiative, trying to get the funds to even have this building. We've seen that in fruition because of our faithfulness to God. Giving's important to me. Growing up, my dad always taught me to tithe, and I had 12 siblings, so financially, like, things weren't always the greatest, but that was something like every paycheck, that was the first thing my dad did. And he would tell my mom, okay, Michelle, I just did the tithe. Like, he would tell my mom about it, and I got to see that growing up. I got to see my dad's faithfulness, my parents' faithfulness, and that's something that has impacted me. And I remember freshman year of college, actually, it was real rough. I had like a job on campus, which I would maybe make $50 to $200, maybe. That was on a good day. Like, I would maybe make that. And I just remember freshman year, Pastor Jordan spoke on tithing, and it didn't feel pushy. It didn't feel anything like that. I felt like God was like, hey, do this. And I was like, I don't have much, but I'll do it. And second semester, it was like I wasn't gonna be able to pay. I didn't think I was gonna make it back to Vanguard because it was just expensive. But somehow, like some way, like I was able to make it. And my sister, just out of the blue, like after praying for 7 years to speak in tongues, after she spoke in tongues, she felt the need to that God was telling her to pay for the rest of my tuition for that year, and she did. And so I've seen God's provision when I literally didn't know it was gonna happen. And ever since then, even before then, seeing my parents, like how God has provided for us since I was a little kid, it has always been important for me to give, even when it's hard, even when you don't have much. I think God values even the little thing. You see that in the woman who gives like the 2 copper coins. You see He values even the whatever you can give, you know, whether it's serving, whether it's money, whether He values it and He sees it. And so that's why it's important for me to give as well.